program you are about to watch contains actual police video and photos taken from the investigation's master file. Edmonton, Alberta is a vibrant city in the oil-rich territories of Western Canada. Known for its friendly hospitality, the city also has a dark underbelly and a high crime rate that has given it the nickname Deadmonton.
We have a very transient population, so a lot of the oil workers are here, come and go, and that increases our crime rate.
When 38-year-old Johnny Altinger disappears without a trace, the fear is he's become the city's latest victim. His last known whereabouts is this garage on the city's south side, a garage rented by Mark Twitchell.
I don't have a body. I don't have a victim. I don't even know if I have a crime. But I do believe that he's done something to Johnny. And I know that without a confession, he's going home.
This is gonna keep on eating at you and eating at you.
I just feel like I'm in Twilight Zone right now.
Every day, murder suspects and investigators come face to face in the police interrogation room.
I did not kill my mom.
It's where detectives separate truth from lies,
And you're gonna sit here and tell me this crap?
the innocent from the guilty.
Well, can I talk to a lawyer?
It's a place where cases are closed with killer confessions. By the fall of 2008, 38-year-old Johnny Altinger had made a comfortable life for himself in Edmonton since leaving Vancouver 5 years earlier for a golden opportunity.
He had a great personality. He was humorous. He had a number of friends, and he was always happy.
Despite being more than 700 miles away from his family, the oil field pipeline inspector remains in close contact with his big brother.
Johnny liked technology. He always liked the latest gadgets. He had his computer on all the time, right? It was on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you wanted to communicate with him, I would just simply email him. We were communicating via the computer at least every week, every few days. He would always send me emails. The last communication I had was when I got this strange email stating that he was quitting work and he had met some woman named Jen and he was off to Costa Rica for the winter time, no more snow. The very first thing I thought of is, whoa, this is the strangest email I've ever received from him.
Several of John's friends receive the same email, and none of them can believe he's left town on a whim.
The friends were concerned because Johnny hadn't been seen or heard from in a week by anyone. All of his close friends, no one had contact with him since the previous Friday, October 10th.
Worried for his safety, his friends take drastic measures.
They actually broke into his apartment.
They found that all of his stuff was still there, was untouched. He had dishes in the sink, the lights were on. There was his passport still there. That would have all been taken care of if he were about to go away for any length of time. It was as if he had just stepped out and he was going to come back in an hour or two.
That's when the police are called in. There's no sign of Johnny or his red Mazda anywhere. When detectives check with Johnny's friends, they learn that everyone knew about Jen, the girl Johnny met on a dating website.
John was excited about meeting this girl. She was a pretty girl from her photos. He started texting her back and forth to the point that they were going to meet up that night.
It was the night of October 10th, and after trading emails and texts, Johnny was finally going to meet Jen. But there's something odd about her suggested rendezvous point.
She wouldn't give him the address, where to go. She gave him directions on how to get to her place. And then the directions were that he couldn't come to the front door, he had to go in through the garage.
Johnny's concerned enough about Jen's directions. He emails a friend just before he leaves for his date.
And he gave the whole directions to the garage, just in case something happens.
Now, a week later, the police follow the directions and end up in front of a garage rented by Mark Twitchell. A background check reveals Mark Twitchell is a 29-year-old unemployed salesman. His local claim to fame is as a low-budget sci-fi filmmaker who uses the garage as a makeshift studio. Thinking that Johnny may have been kidnapped, or is perhaps the victim of a homicide, the police contact Twitchell to come and unlock the door so they can search the garage. Despite the late hour, Twitchell agrees.
It's about 11 at night on Friday night. When he gets there, though, one of the things he notices right away, he tells the officers, well, that's not my lock on the door. And they say, well, if that's not your lock, whose lock is it? He says, well, I don't know whose lock it is. But he gives them permission to remove the lock and go in. It's basically an empty garage. It's got a large table in it with a metal top. It's a big wooden heavy table, a homemade type table.
As the officers look around, there are things that have them thinking this might be the scene of a murder.
There's an oil drum with some, it looks like it's been burned. There's some red splotches. There's a lot of paper towels. There's garbage bags. There's stuff like that. And the place smells of ammonia, like someone's been cleaning.
Twitchell explains that he's been cleaning up after finishing the shooting of his latest film. It's a murder mystery inspired by Dexter, the television series about a serial killer. As the police officers search the garage, they ask Twitchell if he's ever met Johnny Altinger, or if he's seen Johnny's car parked anywhere near the premises.
They ask him, I believe it was 7 times that night, about a red car. You ever see a red car? No. Mark Twitchell absolutely flatly denies ever seeing a red car, having anything to do with a red car or anything like that.
And when they question him about the last time he was there, he says it was a week ago.
Well, that was October 10th, which of course is the Friday night that Johnny went missing.
Suspicious that Twitchell isn't being fully truthful with them, the officers ask him to come back to the station to make a formal statement to Detective Mike Tabler.
I'm here to talk to you tonight because of the fact that you happen to be the renter of a garage that has come to our attention due to a missing person. Okay? Now, first of all, can you please state your name for me?
Mark Twitchell.
Okay. Now, the garage in question that we're talking about tonight, what have you been filming there? Have you been filming every day, or what's been going on there?
Nope. Well, most of my stuff is all pre-production. I knew that I was going to use it as a location for filming, so basically I began looking for something that was suitable in like late August.
Yeah.
So found that garage, found that it was an ideal location. It worked great for what our purposes were, and rented it. The only time that we actually spent shooting in that place was the last weekend of September.
What type of film is it, or that you're shooting at this particular time? That you're talking about shooting at this, what sort of a film is it?
It's a suspense thriller.
Twitchell is eager to share his knowledge of the film industry.
We edit the film together and then submit it to film festivals, try to get it picked up by a distributor. Hopefully somebody will grab it and use it in some way. Or it's also used as pitch material in order to develop a television series or a feature film out of it, to convince someone that, we know what we're doing as filmmakers and that we deserve to get money basically to make more material. So it's all in the interest of developing everyone's career that way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just don't understand how that works.
Well, you have to start from scratch your own way, because in our industry, there's really only 2 ways to get in and actually do that kind of work. And one of them is to either pay to go to a film school and then graduate and come out and do it. But usually that path doesn't take you very far. It's kind of like more of the lower end kind of jobs. I'm more interested in writing, producing, and directing, and I've only noticed after the 3 or 4 years that I've been trying to get into the industry that the only way to do it is to make your own stuff, prove that you know what you're doing, and then people start to take you seriously.
Eventually, Detective Tabler gets Twitchell to focus on his investigation.
Now, you arrived at the garage and you noted something immediately on your arrival when you went up to the door to show the police the garage.
Yeah.
And what was that?
Went down the side of the garage, came back around, looked at the door itself, and the first thing that I noticed upon looking a little closer at it, because the light wasn't that great, but I could see what was going on, the padlock didn't look familiar to me.
Okay.
And I was the one that actually put the latch on the door.
So you noticed a different padlock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For more than an hour, the camera records Twitchell's claims that he doesn't know Johnny Altinger.
Does that name ring a bell to you or mean anything to you?
Nothing that in terms of casting or production crew or anything like that.
No.
No.
Not a worker, not an employee you've heard about?
No.
No.
Despite his answers, detectives aren't so sure Twitchell is as innocent as he appears.
I go and watch the Mike Tabler interview for 30 minutes. I'm looking for signs of deception. Is he sweating profusely? Is he twitching a lot? If he's nervous, I'm looking for that. So I watch the video, and he's the exact opposite. He's totally forthcoming with information, and he's very comfortable. He's sitting back in the chair, he's relaxed, he's open.
I love filmmaking. I figured that out back in 2005 when I first started writing my first script.
Yeah.
And from the first day that I stepped on the set in August of '06, that was when I knew. And then I just like, there's no going back.
Yeah.
Anything else is crap.
Yeah.
Nothing else would make me feel fulfilled in what I was doing and really love what I do, so I just chased it with everything I had.
No signs of deception. So we're back to square one. Where's Johnny?
Later that day, Clark has nowhere to go but back to the last place Johnny Altinger was supposed to be, the garage, where he hits a roadblock.
Because we couldn't prove there was a crime, we couldn't get a warrant. So it was at that point, and this is now about 9, 10 at night, that we decide, well, let's phone Mark Twitchell.
Detective Brian Murphy calls Twitchell for the keys to the garage.
Mark was once again very cooperative and says, it just so happens I'm going to my mom and dad's place on the north side, so I could meet you in about 20 minutes. So I jumped in my unmarked car and went as fast as I could up to the north side.
Murphy arrives at the prearranged spot, just a few miles from the garage.
I was there, literally, I was there to pick up a garage key, to go into a garage. So then Mark comes over and jumps into the passenger seat of my police car. Mark says, there's a few things that I wanted to relate to you that I didn't tell Detective Tabler in the initial interview.
So when Brian Murphy meets up with Mark Twitchell, Mark Twitchell makes a disclosure to him that absolutely turns this case upside down in a matter of seconds.
Twitchell tells Detective Murphy a bizarre story about a car he recently purchased.
Mark says he's sitting in the parking lot. Somebody comes up to the window on the passenger side of the car and knocks on the window. He says, hey, you want to buy a car? And Mark says, well, I don't have money to buy a car. And the guy asks, how much have you got? So Mark says that he looks in his wallet and he's only got 40 bucks.
Twitchell says for some strange reason, the guy was willing to sell him the car for the money in his wallet.
There's something weird here. I mean, it's a $10,000 car and you're buying it for 40 bucks. You don't buy a car for 40 bucks.
Especially a 3-year-old red Mazda GS, the same type of car Johnny Altinger owned.
That's what hit me. I'm thinking that it could have been Johnny Altinger's car, for sure.
Detective Murphy immediately calls his colleagues.
I said, Mark Twitchell's sitting in the car right beside me, and he's told me a really long, detailed story, which I think is critical to the investigation.
He then retells the story to Detective Bill Clark as Mark Twitchell listens in.
I know that whenever I get to the $40 car, they're gonna flip out.
Red Mazda for $40.
I was like shocked. I was absolutely in shock. I went, holy he killed the guy.
Mazda.
All I can hear is Bill Clark's voice in the background going, holy he killed him. So I'm squeezing this phone as tight as I can to my ear because I don't want Mark to hear any of that.
This comment about a red car is absolutely a ridiculous comment. You would buy a red car off a guy. This is a car that's worth about $10,000. You don't buy it off a guy for $40, and most of all, you don't forget to tell the police about that. It's a pretty significant item. So now we're scrambling. We don't have a crime yet. We still don't know what happened to Johnny. But I am now leaning, because of this car, that there's been foul play to Johnny.
Detectives ask Twitchell if he'll voluntarily come down to the station for more questioning. Twitchell agrees.
I have him sit in what we call a soft interview room, which is a comfortable room, like a love seat and a chair. There's a little table in there with a lamp. There's a Bible in there, because we just want to find out his story. Listen, Mark.
Yeah.
You know we're investigating this missing person.
Yeah.
I tell Mark, you know, you're free to go at any time. If you want to call a lawyer, you can, but I just want to get the story about this red car. It's the first I've heard of it.
Detective Clark then asks Twitchell to write out the story he told Detective Murphy.
Okay. And I'll come back in. When you're done, just knock. Or you can just open the door. Now, I'm just across in the office, across the way there, okay? Now, normally, witnesses will take 10, 15 minutes to write out a statement. It might be a page, maybe a page and a half, 2 pages at the most.
Twitchell takes 2 hours to produce 8 pages.
There's normally 3 parts to a normal person's story when they're writing out a statement. There's a beginning, there's the part about the incident, and then there's an ending. And they're all about the same length if you're telling the truth. Well, in this case, Mark Twitchell, he went on for pages and pages about his filmmaking and the garage and the rental and the movies they were making. And then he talked about buying the red car, and that was about less than a page. So when I'm reading this, I'm going, well, to be blunt, I thought it was all bull. And he brought up this story, and this was something new that just came up in that written statement, and that was about a story about his car being broken into in October, just a week or so before, and there were items missing. Registration documents, insurance documents, things that people normally wouldn't steal, but he's telling me this. It was almost like he was spoon-feeding this information to me of a possible theory as to what's going on, or he's building up to something.
Hey, Mark, thanks for waiting.
So I go into the room, and I simply ask Mark to give me the pure, I don't tell him this, but it's what we call the pure version statement. Just get him to talk, and basically I shut up.
Twitchell is happy to oblige and tells his story for Detective Clark.
He says, "How you doing? I was wondering if perchance you would be interested in buying a car." And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And so then he goes, "Well, basically, I've got this car that I need to sell. I've hooked up with this really rich woman." So at that point, I'm thinking, okay, well, lucky bastard.
Some people will talk for 60 seconds. Some are quick, and you got to prod them on. Twitchell went on and on and on. He was a talker, and it was good because I sat there and listened.
And I don't really care how much I get for it. How much do you have on you? I said, $40, because I knew I had a little bit of cash in my pocket. And I'm kind of laughing at that whole concept, just like, you know, I'm not expecting him to take it, but he says, "Okay, sure, sounds good. You know, how do you want to do this? Where do you want to drop it off?" And I tell him, "Well, I've got a place just right over here. It's a garage that I use."
Like he did during his interview with Detective Tabler the day before, Twitchell once again seems comfortable as he tells his story. But this time, his relaxed demeanor has Detective Clark on edge.
This is a major event when you get a car for $40, and he's playing it up like this is a nothing occurrence. This could happen to anyone. It's just another sign that he's not being truthful about everything. Did you not think that kind of strange? I mean, I have to ask this. You're paying $40 for a car. How much did you think the car was worth?
I thought it was worth somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000.
But you're paying $40 for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I wasn't sure what to make of it. I didn't know if the guy was crazy or, you know, what the deal was. He seemed to be pretty genuine about his story in terms of what he was saying.
I just get the sense from him that he thinks I'm not that smart, so I go with that. Let him think I'm stupid. Let him think I'm believing everything he's telling me, because I want him to keep talking. Did you think it might be stolen?
I wasn't sure. It didn't seem that way. It didn't look like the car had been damaged in any way. The guy seemed to be put together pretty well in terms of what he was presenting, so.
He went on and on and on, and I knew when he talked about the red car and it being at a friend of his house, I knew we were sending investigators over to that place to see if we could locate the car while I'm interviewing him. So I just basically didn't say anything for quite a period of time.
After 1 hour and 46 minutes, Detective Clark decides to find out if Johnny Altinger's car has been located.
All right, let me just go check with my partner here. I'll see if we've covered off everything. And
We'll get you out of here.
Okay.
All right?
We're now down to about 4 in the morning, and I leave the room. I find out from Murphy that they have in fact recovered the red Mazda.
A quick check of the car's ID number confirms the car Twitchell says he bought for $40 belongs to Johnny Altinger.
He's obviously lying. He's full of crap about everything he's telling me. None of it's making any sense. I says, why don't I just go in and confront him? And it's another tactic we use, where you purposely go in and you accuse someone of doing something, like murdering this guy. Problem was, we didn't know we had a murder, and you don't want to tell someone something if it's not true. So I thought, word it very carefully and say, I know you're involved in the disappearance of Johnny Altinger, and watch his reaction.
Mark, you remember what I mentioned to you earlier about contacting the lawyer? That still holds true, okay, just so you're aware.
And I purposely stand off to the right of him because I know the camera's on him and I wanted to see his face, and I stand over him, and it's a tactic, like I'm now in charge type tactic. He's sitting down and you can see him look up at me, and I say,
There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that you're involved in the disappearance of John Altinger.
he looks at me and says nothing for 13 seconds. Seemed like forever.
No doubt in my mind at all, Mark.
Why?
If you didn't do it, you're gonna go, no, I didn't. That's gonna be your reaction. You're out to lunch. You're gonna say something about it. I thought, wow, you are involved in this up to your neck. Now, how do I get him to confess to it?
Mark, there's no doubt in my mind that you're involved in this disappearance. I just want to get to the bottom of this because this is not gonna go away.
I eventually sit down and now go into the interrogation part of the interview. Problem is, I got nothing to interrogate him on. I have no evidence. We don't know John's dead. We don't even know if we have a crime.
I don't understand.
I'm going to explain some of the reasons to you. But you do understand, because you know what I'm talking about.
I'm now accusing him of a crime, and he knows it. And now his whole demeanor changes. He's no longer comfortable in the chair. He's doing a little bit of fidgeting. He's starting to look down. He won't look at me.
I have no idea what the hell's going on.
You do have an idea. You have a very good idea, Mark, about what's going on. You know exactly what happened there that night. I mean, you haven't told us the truth. You haven't told us anything close to the truth.
I'm now drilling into details. I'm now telling him, I do not believe your $40 story about the red car. It doesn't make any sense.
You are definitely not a dumb man. You know very well that you don't buy a car that's worth over $10,000 from someone for $40. That part of your story is just lie after lie after lie. And it's time to end those lies, Mark. This is gonna keep on eating at you and eating
I
at
just
you.
feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone right now.
And why do you feel you're in the Twilight Zone?
I tried to play on his emotions, which is normally what we would attack first, the emotions, because I know no background on Mark Twitchell. I don't know his personality. I don't even know who he is. So we're at a very big disadvantage. But the stakes are enormously high because I know if I don't get a confession there, he's walking out of that room at some point.
We've talked to all the neighbors now. The neighbors saw you changing the lock about a week and a half ago. Neighbors watch. We know the lock was changed long before the 15th. So that's a lie. That's a lie you told me.
It looked to me like his mind was racing a mile a minute.
You're involved in this, and unfortunately, something got carried away. Something got carried away with this guy.
We started to believe that maybe this was a snuff film, a film where he had actually recorded the murder.
This happened because of the movie thing? Something that went too far?
Because of his background with the movie producing, because of everything that had gone in the garage, because of all the lies he had told us, and the fact that we still hadn't found Johnny, we thought there was a good possibility he had actually filmed the murder.
What drove you to this? Is there something going on? Obviously, there's something going on behind the scenes that I don't know about. Because you seem like a decent guy that I'd go have a beer with. That's the type of guy you come across as. Yeah, you're involved over your head in this.
Is anything that you're saying genuine, or is this some sort of tactic?
He was obviously thinking that everything I was doing was just a tactic to get him to talk. And I thought at that time, well, he's analyzing me as much as I'm analyzing him.
I'm not trying to be the bad guy here, Mark.
Can't help but feel like that's a tactic. I just feel like everything is a tactic right now.
Why do you think that? When you know what I've told you in this room is the truth, so how do you say that the tactic?
It's just, I know we're not sitting in a movie, but it's a cop thing.
You got to get away from the acting part, Mark, and listen to what I'm saying. You have told me nothing but lies. An innocent man does not come in here and tell lies. That's genuine, Mark. Everything I'm telling you in here is genuine. So get out of your film producer mode and the facade of thinking that everyone's an actor. Because this is real life. All right? Real life. It's so obvious you're involved, Mark. It's like you're not a very good actor. And you're in the business.
Never said I was an actor.
Producer. You've seen actors. You're not good at it at all. You're a very, very poor liar.
A few minutes later, Twitchell seems on the verge of opening up.
I think this has been eating at you since it happened. It's probably been wreaking havoc on your home life, too.
Do you have any idea what it's like living with constant apprehension?
I can't say that I do.
I'd like to not feel that anymore.
Well, this is your chance to get rid of that feeling.
Almost 3 hours in, and finally the moment Detective Clark has been waiting for. Twitchell's on the edge of confessing to his role in Johnny Altinger's disappearance.
I knew he was defeated. He knew he was defeated. I thought that this is a guy who really can't live with himself. There's no doubt his life was a house of cards ready to fall down.
But nothing in an interrogation room is a sure thing.
What happened to John, Mark? What'd you do with him?
Wrong tree.
Wrong dream?
No, tree.
Wrong tree. And what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that, Mark?
I'm done.
What do you mean you're done?
I mean, I'm not talking anymore. This is ridiculous.
It's 5 in the morning. We were both tired. It was a battle, and I was losing the battle because I had nothing. I really thought at that point, this guy is not going to confess to anything. I knew he had done something to Johnny, but I didn't know what.
It's time for you to step up to the plate. Tell me what happened to John. Tell me where he is. So we can do the decent thing and for him, but for his family. And for your own well-being. You're not going to be able to live with yourself with this for the rest of your life.
I'd be surprised what I can live with.
That was a telling statement. That type of statement really tells me we're dealing with a guy who's emotionless. Maybe we're dealing with a sociopath, psychopathic type personality.
Well, okay, what's the steps in getting a lawyer? Because I don't have one.
I just take you out of this room to a phone and you can call.
So at that point, I had to stop. I knew I had to give him his phone call because he had asked for it. I knew that if he said anything after that, I wouldn't be allowed in court. This guy's walking out of here because we got nothing. I've had it with him. I'm frustrated. I'm tired. I'm frustrated with myself because I didn't get a confession. I'm frustrated because I believe I'm letting a killer walk out that door. So I'm not in a good mood.
Am I free to go?
Yep.
Then I will.
Okay.
Detective Clark can't stop Twitchell from leaving, but he does have one more card to play.
We're seizing your car, so you won't be getting it back.
Twitchell had driven his Grand Am from his meeting with Detective Murphy down to the police station. Detective Clark is hoping there's still some evidence to be found there, linking Twitchell to Johnny Altinger.
He was shocked when I said, I'm taking your car. He looked at me like, it was like he almost shit his pants.
We'll be getting a search warrant to go through the car, forensic examination.
He turns over his key to his car and he starts walking down the street. I noticed as I walk up to his car, the license plate is dark Jedi. I thought, oh, that's a little strange. I'm just gonna search it, see what we find. This is October 19th, we're into the 20th. We're 10 days since Johnny went missing. So I expect to find probably nothing in his car. But the evidence that we got out of the car was simply overwhelming. An absolute gold mine. We found a laptop computer. We found yellow sticky notes, and on them were maps, hand-drawn maps from the garage to Johnny Altinger's apartment, the missing man's apartment. We found a knife with blood on it, and they found blood in the trunk of the car. We knew that the blood in the trunk would be huge if it turned out to be Johnny Altinger's blood. How's he going to explain that away? That will be enough to arrest him.
To create a DNA profile of the victim, the CSI team then gathers evidence from Johnny Altinger's apartment.
They take swabs from his shaving dish and those items around the sink in his bathroom. So we're now up to October 31st, and that morning we got the call that yes, in fact, they have matched DNA from John's apartment suite to the blood in the car.
On Halloween, Mark Twitchell's favorite day of the year, the SWAT team moves in to arrest him for the murder of Johnny Altinger.
They come out with machine guns and they take him down hard and fast. We wanted Mark Twitchell to feel he was that important a guy that we had to use a tactical team to arrest him. He would like that, so it'd make him feel good. We wanted him to feel good when he came in for the final interview so we could get that confession.
Just have a seat in the chair there, blue one.
So Mark, you remember the chat we had back on the 19th of October, you and I, 20th, Sunday and Monday? Do you remember that? We're going to explain to you what's going on here today, Mark, okay? Why you're here. You know that you're charged with first-degree murder. The plan was for me to come in and introduce all the evidence we had. So absolutely tell him the whole case. Just overwhelm him with the evidence so that he knows well, I might as well tell you what happened. And it was an easy case to overwhelm him with because the evidence simply was overwhelming. I got some very, very interesting pictures here to show you, Mark. I'm showing him the PowerPoint. He's watching a laptop computer. Eventually, he turns away and hangs his head down, so I was prepared for that. I take out the sheets of the PowerPoint. I had copied each one, held him right underneath. He kept looking down. This is the knife mark that we found in your car. Grand Dam again. Okay? It's like a Rambo-style knife, black handle, in a black sheath. You'll notice these arrows. That's done by our blood guys, our ident guys, the crime scene guys, showing the different, where they're taking analysis of blood for DNA sampling, okay? That's sloppy. Sloppy putting the knife back in with the victim's blood still on. And just to show you, this is a close-up now, as you can see of the handle, and you can see yourself the spots of blood. All those for DNA testing. So there's no doubt in my mind, this is the kill weapon. This is what you used to kill him with. This knife here.
What's your biggest concern here?
Getting a night's sleep and talking to my lawyer.
He's been allowed to call his lawyer. His lawyer's told him not to talk. He tells us that several times, but in Canada, you're still allowed to talk to him. So we keep on talking to him. We interviewed him till about midnight that night. He wouldn't talk. He wouldn't confess to killing Johnny and would not tell us where Johnny's body was. So we went home for the night and put him down in our cell block. So I just was thinking about it, and I thought, why don't we just take him for a drive? I didn't think the emotions would play on him anymore based on what I knew about him, but I thought the media attention might.
Twitchell always wanted to be in the public eye. The notoriety of his arrest puts him at the center of a media storm.
A 29-year-old man is being charged with first-degree murder in the disappearance of another city man. Police say they will release more details this afternoon following the arrest of Mark Twitchell. He was taken into custody yesterday.
So that's where we're gonna go now. Drive up to your parents' house.
The detectives hope that the TV reporters staked out at Twitchell's parents' house will add the kind of pressure that can crack through his veil of silence and reveal what he did with Johnny Altinger's body.
You gotta be kidding me.
It's the media, Mark. There's nothing we can do about this.
You gotta face the music sooner or later. What are you afraid about?
Nothing, I guess, but what's the point? You didn't call them?
No. I have a freedom to be here, and there's nothing I can do about it. We can leave if you tell us where we should go.
Let's go back to HQ. Seriously, let's just go back to the station.
To keep the pressure up, police continue their tour, slow enough to allow news crews to shadow their every move.
We'll go up to his sister's house. We'll go to the garage. I mean, we're grasping at straws, right? We're trying anything just to bring that closure.
Where do you want us to go, Mark? Which way? We need to get this done. Do you know where? I shouldn't say that. Bad question. You know where. It's just, where do you want us to go?
At the end of the drive around, I was disappointed. We hadn't done the one thing we wanted. We didn't find Johnny's remains. He just wasn't going to give it up.
Okay, last night before we finished up,
2 days of grueling interrogation bring detectives no closer to getting a confession.
We still don't have a body. It's not any easier on the family. You feel bad for them. I know what they've gone through. I've had a family member murdered myself, and it's not easy. So we're trying to bring some closure to them and get the body.
Then the forensic lab discovers a manuscript on Twitchell's computer.
Talk about a huge piece of evidence. It's actually quite phenomenal.
This is the story of my progression into becoming a serial killer. It's entitled SK Confessions and reads like a treatment for Twitchell's next thriller. I thought long and hard to come up with a system that would work for me. It didn't take long before I settled on an MO.
It was a story that dealt with a gentleman who managed to lure another person through the computer and then attack that individual and subsequently murdered them as they were being tied to a chair.
When I first started reading in the first couple pages, I went, holy mackerel, he's describing the whole killing. I knew right away this was the truth. I had no doubt in my mind when I read it that it was a detailed confession of how Mark Twitchell decided to kill Johnny Altinger. When I finally found my location, it could not have been more perfect. A double detached garage for rent in the south of the city. What's interesting about that is that's exactly what this is. The garage where he killed Johnny is a double detached garage in a quiet neighborhood in the south of the city.
Page after page, Twitchell buries himself as he describes the murder and dismemberment of his unsuspecting victim.
He strikes him over the head, and eventually he takes a knife, and he talks about how he plunges it into his stomach area, and he describes it as being pure Hollywood. And then ultimately he bled out on the floor. Mark Twitchell goes into great detail after that about how he put him up on the table that he had as a prop for his movie sets, and how he enjoyed cutting his body up to the point of that he was listening to music and singing songs and eating potato chips. I bought a hunter's game processing kit, which if you think about it, is ideal for this scenario. Why not use a whole set of tools designed to take apart large mammals in the forest on the fly? And that's what we found in the garage. We found a hunter's game processing kit, which is used to cut up large deer or elk or moose in the bush. On each one of those tools in that hunter's kit, we found the blood and DNA of Johnny Altinger.
Gary Altinger is in shock when he learns the details of how his brother likely died.
It's one thing to have a loved one lose their life in a car accident or in some kind of job accident, but losing somebody you love to something as insane as this, it defies understanding.
This remarkable manuscript details every macabre step of the murder, but Twitchell's deleted document never reveals the end of the story.
I didn't think we were ever going to find the body. You always want to bring home the victim for the family. At least it's not, you're never going to bring them back, but you can bring them some closure. So we really wanted to find Johnny for them.
Desperate for a clue to the location of Johnny Altinger, Detective Clark presses his computer technicians to find something he can use.
Eventually, after searching over the next few days, we got one more page. And that page indicated he had dumped the body in a sewer, and he describes a sewer, a manhole cover, that was off to the side of an alley. The sewer, of course, how obvious. No one ever goes down there. The body would rot away completely before anyone ever discovered the bones. Within a few moments, I found exactly what I was looking for. Here he's describing exactly where he dropped the body parts that were left over from Johnny.
Using clues from Twitchell's twisted manuscript, detectives are able to pinpoint the location of Johnny's final resting place.
We found in that sewer a small basin with water in it, and then just above that basin was the pipe that led out to the river, where most of it got washed away.
All that is left are small portions of a pelvic bone and rib cage, enough to confirm that Johnny Altinger is dead, and to charge Twitchell with his murder. For the next 2.5 years, Twitchell remains defiantly silent as he's housed in the Edmonton jail. Then, on April 6th, 2011, 18 days into his trial, Mark Twitchell takes the witness stand and gives a surprising testimony.
He did confess to killing him. He claimed it to be more of a self-defense. It was a him or me type thing.
And he says something to the effect of, "I had you." comes after me swinging. It's just a instant knee-jerk reaction. Pipe is in the air, both hands come out, one's got the knife in it. I put the other hand up to block the pipe, and then sickest feeling ever. I just started to feel this wet sensation around the hand that's still holding the handle, and I let go instinctively. And then I saw it sticking out of it.
Where was it in Mr. Altinger?
It would have been in the center, right below the sternum.
It's an infuriating defense for those who knew and loved Johnny.
He should have just said, yes, I did it when he was asked. He had the opportunity to come clean, and he didn't take it. It was very, very emotional. I remember wanting to stare at him. I remember wanting to look into his eyes, and I wanted to show him so clearly how much I hated that piece of shit. But he, of course, would never look around ever at anybody.
And with good reason. Evidently, Twitchell's life was a web of lies that became exposed after his arrest.
He was getting so many stories to so many people he couldn't keep them straight. He elaborated a scam to get a mortgage on his house when he didn't qualify. He never went to work for over a year, yet his wife thought he went to work every day. He was getting his friends, his close buddies that he worked in his movies with to invest into his movie-making business. He said he had this movie producer in Hollywood going to produce for him, and they were going to make all this money. None of that was true. He put into his bank account, and he lived off of and paid his mortgage from their funds.
Twitchell's life seemed to be in stark contrast to the life of his victim.
He was sweet, kind. I really, really liked him as an uncle for my children. Very important part of our family.
My children, they no longer have an Uncle John. We've always had a small family. Now we're a smaller family. My brother made the world a much better place. And as long as Mark Twitchell is alive, this world will not be as good a place. When he's dead, the world will be a better place.
On April 12, 2011, the jury disregards Twitchell's self-defense story and convicts him of first-degree murder. He's sentenced to 25 years to life in prison.